Hello and welcome to the first Simply Support Wednesday Hump Day Q&A. I am Catherine Stanier and I am a supporter here at Simply Support. And I've designed these Wednesday Q&As for anyone to be able to come in and ask questions about what is going on in their life and hopefully find some answers, some solutions. Most of the things that we support individuals with, I tend to enjoy doing it in a private session, which is why we encourage you to make a ticket, talk to the members of our team, and get on a call with them, because in that vocalization of what's going on, it's easier to get a solution. But sometimes questions can just be asked over chat and answers given. And I just want to ensure that anyone that's a part of this community is being heard in real time, just for being here. And I'm just trying to offer support in the best way or any way I can. So I'm not quite sure if anyone will show up to this first ever Q&A, but there's no problems with that because I've already come up with questions and answers to my own questions. And I think that for this first time, there's no harm in doing that. That way, I can talk about what I know, and maybe you'll find some value in this because a few people have raised tickets and they've been pertaining to emotional states. And one of the emotional states that is most reoccurring is anxiety. And anxiety is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. I had been diagnosed with anxiety in 2016 and went through this whole dark phase as a result of it. Years of just this anxiety controlling my life and my life circumstances. And when I look at it, of what my life was like when I was allowing anxiety to control my life like that, I have to ask, what was it really that got me to where I'm at now, which is not so anxious all the time? And everyone's different in terms of how the anxiety manifests in them, what makes people more anxious than others. But I'm just going to try to offer my story, and hopefully you can find clarity within that, or find that you resonate with it, or find any sort of value in what I have to say. So I had been diagnosed with anxiety when I was in university, and there's no surprise that I was diagnosed with it there because I was stressed out. I was really working to be a good student. I had a lot of expectations of what I was supposed to get and what I wanted to be in terms of academics. And I was working around the clock to be the best student that I could possibly be. And this manifested as, me staying up till 3 a.m. to just make sure I read the chapters in the book. And that meant less sleep. And because my body was under stress and I was not sleeping as much, my immune system plummeted. I ended up getting, my freshman year of university, pink eye 9 times. 9. I just kept getting it over and over and over again. I just show up to class with these bloodshot eyes. It got to the point where I had to wear sunglasses to class because I didn't want people to see my pink eye. It had gotten way out of control. And it escalated to the point where it was affecting my stomach. And I was just like, for better or for worse, just going number 2 loads. Just, I would eat and then immediately just have to go to the bathroom. It was just like my body was in constant fight or flight. And so it wasn't digesting my food. It was just sending it straight out of my system right when it entered it. It's quite gruesome to think about, but that's what was happening to me. And my friend said, well, maybe you have anxiety. And I was like, anxiety? What's that? I've never heard of that before. And so I made an appointment with my local doctor, the therapist group that was offered through my university. And they had me go and sit and fill out a questionnaire in their office. And by the time that I sat down in front of someone, they were like, well, based on your questionnaire, you most likely have anxiety. And I was like, okay, well, that's what my friend said. So I guess this is what's happening now. I have anxiety. And we talked about maybe what was going in my life that was causing it. Maybe it was the stress of the academics, or maybe it was the fact that I was drinking a Monster energy drink every day at that point in my life. You know, it was these like explorations of the little things that maybe were causing stress and adding to the anxiety and letting it pile up over time. And after that, I became obsessed with it, this concept of anxiety. And oh my gosh, it's a part of me. Like, how do I control this? How do I mitigate it? How do I do what about it? And then I like was so attached to it that I was like identifying with it for years and letting it put me in holes where I'm not like communicating with people. I was isolating myself. Just really wasn't going well. And anxiety, that process ended up putting me into a depression. And then I was just deeper in that hole. And so, okay, for years, anxiety was just a thing. And it became from certain reasons in my life, and it persisted for different reasons in my life. And the only thing that allowed it to leave was permission from someone else that it could. Almost. I had been, and I can just picture it completely. I was in this horrible state. I was overcoming my alcoholism, my anxiety, my depression, starting to build myself emotionally. I was going inwards and exploring my internal experience. I was writing loads, this or that. And I had an Instagram handle that was called The Anxious Granny, because I was like, oh, I love to live a green life and I'm anxious all the time. I thought it was a great name. But when a woman saw that name, that knew that I was experiencing high level of stress, she was like, is that really the name that you want? Do you really want to identify with your anxiety? And I just thought about it for a while and I was like, no, I don't. I don't want to be anxious anymore. If I didn't have to feel this way, that'd be really great. Honestly, be really great, because my anxiety had done nothing but harm me up to that point. And yeah, like certain levels of stress are great and this or that, but I didn't want it anymore. And with that awareness that I was identifying with it and I wanted to be free from it, seemingly the steps to heal just unfolded in front of me. And then I could just take one step at a time towards feeling better. And what it comes down to really is just making micro moment decisions to not be anxious. So like for this in real time, it looked for me was I was working a serving job. I was a waitress and I was terrified to talk to my customers. To go to a table and introduce myself and take people's orders sent my heart palpitating, sweating. I had my fingers were fidgeting. I couldn't come up with what to say next. But I did it. I did it once. And after that, I was like, whew, I did it. I didn't let my anxiety shut me down. I didn't run to the bathroom crying. Like I actually talked to my customers, and it was the most relieving experience ever. And from there, I became one of the best waitresses at that restaurant. I was just walking in like, what's the crack? What's up? And then taking people's orders, making people laugh, having a great time. And it was like with those little social moments of giving myself permission to not be afraid, to not be anxious, I gave those physical actions gave me the courage to be like, my anxiety just isn't it doesn't have to be this main controlling aspect of my life. I can be confident. I can have courage. I can be social. And with these capabilities, I had a new sense of identity that was being grown away from the anxiety. I was now more of a confident person, a happier person, a more lighthearted person. So within a few years, this was able to change for me. And I, besides, the social aspects and the physical decision making of, I'm not going to be anxious, I'm going to put myself out there. This happened not only in the restaurant industry that I was working in, it also happened online. I started posting videos, I started posting pictures, I started sharing my writing a bit more. And each time I felt so scared. I felt so anxious, but I was like, I can't live this way anymore. If I just continue to live in fear, if I continue to live in anxiety, I just knew that I wasn't going to end up with a fulfilling life. And at that point, I had to tattoo something on my body in order to really appease this. I have one of my first tattoos is right here. Oh, it's not going to come in focus, and it's barely even readable anyways. It says, freedom includes fear. And at that point, I was like, okay, something that terrifies me actually is disguised as a door to my freedom. So like each time I was afraid of something, terrified, it ignited anxiety in me. I was like, well, if I just overcome this thing that's seemingly terrifying to me, imaginarily fearful, maybe there's freedom on the other side. And each time I did that, it worked. I was like, wow, this is incredible. So, all of these things that potentially are making you anxious, it's just the normalization of that in your life, I believe, because that's what happened to me. Once anxiety was normalized for me, I was familiar with that pain, I was comfortable with it. I allowed it to just be, like any situation that came up, oh, well, anxiety, anxious, fear, this, that. And so like you're triggered, and the only way your brain knows how to respond in that normalized state is anxiety. And so that's what perpetuates in your life. But when we can breathe and see the situation for what it is and try to get a different perspective on it, things can change. And this is easier said than done. I've had to go through years of my own work and talking with others, being supported, healing, this or that. But that's why I'm here. Like if you're experiencing anxiety, that's why I'm here, to talk about it with you and help you see the steps in real time to overcome it, to live a different identity, because it's not easy. And as I prefaced the beginning of this lecture, anxiety manifests in each individual differently. And I know for relative fact, I mean, I've read a book about trauma and the way that stress is passed from how stress manifests in the body, and it can be passed genetically. It can be passed sometimes from one parent to the next or through experiences. If you have a parent that lives in a state of anxiety or a state of trauma and raised little you adopted, you like absorbed all of that as a child, as a baby, without even being aware of it, without being cognizant of what's going on, because you're a baby. And so some of us were given more stress in our early years, all the way up to pre-16. Some of us were really loaded with stress and anxiety, and so it will be a little bit more difficult to work through that. But I just want you to not feel like you're stuck or that you have to give up or that there's no relief or solution for you, because there is. And I really believe that to be true, because I've experienced it for myself and I've seen it play out for others in real time. So yes, how how to overcome anxiety. I'll just wrap this up real fast. It's about, having permission to let it go. And it's about not being afraid to take the steps, the physical steps to heal. And it is about decisions in the moment, in the present moment, and about breathing and maybe changing aspects of life that aren't serving you, like energy drinks. If you're having energy drinks and experiencing anxiety, there you go. That's no bueno. Or consuming loads of sugar and you have anxiety, that could be something. There's all of these different aspects that play into our emotional well-being and how we function within a day. So there are no clear answers that I can give you to you about your anxiety until you talk to me, until you talk to us and our team. So thank you so much for watching this. I do hope you found it useful to learn more about me, more about anxiety. And, if you haven't created a ticket yet for step number 2 to speak to one of us, please do. We're here for you. We're here to support you. You're here now. So let us help you. Okay? Much love. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.